This is the Homecoming with the Downing Brothers podcast, where we talk about real estate, business, and financial literacy. They live by the motto, dream, plan, execute. Your host, Anthony and Anton Downing.
Welcome to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. This is Anthony.
And this is Anton.
Oh, man, who do we have today, brother?
We have Ross Mack.
That's right, Ross Mack. And one of the things you may have heard from Ross Mack is Macconomics 101. And that's your new album that's out, right?
Yes, sir. Macconomics 101 on all streaming platforms.
All streaming platforms. So the thing is, man, I think we kind of made some Macconomics history because weren't we like the first one, like guests to come on Macconomics?
100%. So first people ever to be on Macconomics, and actually, as it stands, the last people to be on there.
Wow!
Outside of the callers.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? He was like, y'all gonna be last ones. Dang, we messed it up for everybody.
No, y'all set the bar so high. I gotta go get like Donald Trump. I mean, not Donald Trump, but like Bill Gates or somebody to get on there. Y'all set the bar too high.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate it. You extending that opportunity for us to be on another platform. We had a lot of fun with that, and I saw the reactions. I think a lot of people really reacted to that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I love about what you're doing and what your brand represents is making people from millennials, younger people, urban audiences aware and having access. To business, what I'm saying, to the different asset classes, to this whole, actually to a whole new vocabulary, what I mean? So that's what I love about what you're doing. But before we dive too deep into that, this is Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. And so we like to always start off by, letting all the homies out there know, where do you call home? Where are you from? And when you were growing up, what was your first exposure to real estate, business, or financial literacy?
Awesome. So I'm, Ross Mack. I'm from Chicago, from South Shore. And I think, probably one of my first introductions to business was probably maybe like second, third grade, selling candy on the school bus. I used to go to the little candy shop right there, I want to say on like 67th, right off the Dan Ryan.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
It's huge. And I would go there probably like second, third grade, and I would get, maybe about $100 worth of candy.
And I went to the wholesaler on the expressway.
Oh, yeah, huge. It's literally like Toys R Us for all candy. And this was back when, people were selling things for a quarter, so I was probably selling, chips for 50 cents. And that was probably my first, real introduction, because you have to learn early on, profits and losses. And ever since then, I've always been business oriented. So, let the homies know, where'd you go to high school? And then I think we all know that you went off to college. So let them know where you went to school. So I went to the number one school in the city. That's Whitney Young Dolphins.
Oh my God,
you better know it.
All right.
And then, but no, I was a proud Dolphin.
Okay.
And then after that, I went to the East Coast. I was living in Philadelphia. I went to the University of Pennsylvania. I was in the Wharton School of Business.
That's Ivy League, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Wow. How many brothers like us did you see in your classes out there?
Brothers like us, probably zero, but it was a few brothers in there. You know what I mean?
There's a difference.
It's different levels of brothers in this world. But no, I want to say we was probably like all in all like maybe 6-7% African American at Penn. Okay. I think it might have got a little bigger now, but nonetheless,
that's like around the same percentage that at U of I in Champaign where we went to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's all about, once you find those people, it's like, being cool with them, but also branching out and learning from the other ethnicities, because you learn so much about, life and so many other, like, best kept secrets.
Right. So I had this thing where I always talk about how you need to build relationships before you build houses. And so I'm pretty sure at Penn, just based on what you just said right here, you were building relationships that are probably coming back now full circle to open up doors and opportunities for you.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Another way of saying that is literally your network is your net worth is your network, right? And I think right now a lot of my classmates are at that, pivotal point in their lives where they're actually in positions of power, right? They're able to, pick up a phone call and get this done, or they're actually being the decision makers now. And so for me, it was always about, making sure that I was able to speak to everyone. When I was in undergrad, I was literally United Nations, you know what I mean? It was literally, right. I was friends with everybody possible, you know what I mean? And as a result, I think that translates to my life, currently, because, at the end of the day, the world is a very diverse place, right? Especially, if you choose to be that way. But in the business realm, you know what I mean? In the real estate realm, you're going to have to understand, everybody's, whether you black, white, or purple, everybody's, for the almighty dollar.
That's right. They're looking for green.
Believe it.
Yeah. All right. So, I think one of the things that I saw. Well, no, this is what I want you to do. Tell people about this show that you have, these segments that you do. It's on Revolt TV now, right?
Yeah. Right.
So can you tell people about the name of your show, where they can find it, what it's about?
Awesome. So I have this platform. Luckily, that it was picked up by Revolt TV. It started out me just wanting to find an interesting way to make financial literacy digestible from an urban perspective. So literally all my callers that will call in are asking for financial advice, and it's some spin to it. It's something funny, whether it's some baby mama drama or I finessed this or did that. But I wanted to make it relatable, funny, and more importantly digestible. So the way it works now with Revolt is we're doing an episode a week, and the best part about it is it's starting to grow, but more importantly, it's starting to actually help people, right? And I think for me, when it comes to the importance of financial literacy, I find it very important to find a way to educate, us, right? Educating us is something that is really slept on. For me, when it comes to trying to make change, I don't think I'm in a position to go on Capitol Hill and, enact some type of bill and, get this, changed over, that changed over. Like, I'm not a guy that's going to be able to introduce policy change, right? That's not my career path. But one way I can try to enact change for the community is through education, right? And I think opening people's minds and understanding, wait, the 1% is really living like this? Like, they literally are living purely off their dividends and their interest income and things of that sort. So I think, like you say, it might be opening up a whole different vocabulary. But, for me, from a person that came from the south side of Chicago, anything we put our minds to, we can do. Absolutely. It's just a function of what we find to be important, whatever we choose to, place some form of importance, right? We control the culture, right? So if everybody say these new shoes is the best shoes to know or the best shoes to wear, kids going to be outside camping, and they going to make sure they got the cleanest shoes. They don't scuff them, this, that, and the third. If we had that same energy when it come to investing in our future, kids gonna be the same way. They gonna be like, oh man, I got this stock better than you. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it almost get competitive because at the same, at the end of the day, like, all we need to do you go as far in life as to what you're exposed to. Right. And I think what I'm using the platform is to start exposing kids to, stuff that unfortunately may or may not be taught in their schools, but something that they definitely need to know about.
Absolutely. You know what? We feel the same way, man. That's the reason why with our podcast, we do a definition of the day, centered around our guest, so that the homies, and that's what we call our listeners, the homies will be able to hear about things they would never otherwise hear about. And even coming back from college, we came back to live on the south side. We didn't go out to the suburbs. All in a way of not only investing personally in our neighborhoods that we here on the south side of Chicago, but in so many multiples of ways that we can do that, as opposed to just letting everybody go, letting our friends go, letting our neighborhood go.
Right. I love economics. I find it entertaining, and I mean, even from like most of the topics that you're talking about, I know about these things already, but it's so clever how it's introduced. I'm immediately drawn in by the crazy callers, but then when you start talking about you do make it so relatable and so easy to follow along. And now you really have me thinking like, okay, if everybody thinks that these shoes from Nike are so amazing, I need to buy the Nike stock.
Absolutely.
Right? And if your theory actually comes to be, and it's not even a theory anymore, because what I'm seeing in hip hop and with our black entertainers, actors, so on and so forth, a lot of them are all saying the same thing. I'm more than just an actor. I'm more than just an athlete. And you start to see them, but they're all becoming entrepreneurial. They care about their brands. You see their things, the businesses they're investing in. You see people going out and investing in Silicon Valley. The Kevin Durant's of the world, the LeBron James of the world. All these different people are now branching out. And I feel like what you're talking about in Maconomics is introducing it to say regular people can do exactly what you see these athletes doing.
Absolutely. Right. And I think that's something you guys do an amazing job at, especially when I had you guys come on the show. Once again, amazing show. We got tens of thousands of views on that.
Go back and check it out. Is it on YouTube?
Absolutely. On YouTube as well as IG. But like the thing is, like, we're in a position we're both trying to educate and dispel, rumors or, misconceptions, because you don't need to be Kevin Durant to invest in the stock market or in real estate. You know what I mean? And so the most important part is literally saying, hey, guys, I know you've heard about this on a more kind of grand macro level, but let's break it down and understand you can get in the stock market tomorrow for a couple dollars. If that, right? And so, like, helping people understand that, just like you would say, you can get in, buy a crib, only put 3.5 down. Right. Where it's like literally helping people understand some of these slept on, almost, I won't even call them secrets. It's just like some jewels that, we not afforded the luxury of knowing them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Hey, you know what? Let's take it. Let's take it to the definition of the day.
Okay.
Anton's definition of the day.
Okay, to the definition of the day. Today is valuation. A business valuation is a process and a set of procedures used to estimate the economic value of an owner's interest in a business. Valuation is used by financial market participants to determine the price they are willing to pay or receive to affect a sale of business.
All right, valuation.
And the reason why I brought valuation up is because, like, I recently bought more stocks of Sprint. Like, I already had a couple of shares that I bought back in like 2018, I want to say, and it was like for $5. And now that Sprint and T-Mobile is buying Sprint, the valuation on the Sprint stock has gone from $5 to like $8.75. I'm not sure how much it's going to be by the time this episode comes out, but it's going nothing but up because of this merger.
Yeah, so the whole definition of the day, valuation, that actually kind of rolls into the homecoming event. So what's big right now is that T-Mobile is buying Sprint. And the fact that T-Mobile's buying Sprint has an effect on the valuation of those companies, and the fact that T-Mobile now will have market share that's on par with AT&T and Verizon for the first time because of that combination. And, it took a whole lot of federal judges and court cases and so on and so forth to allow this merger to happen. But it's a pretty big deal. And if you own stock in Sprint or T-Mobile, you're probably going to make some money.
Look, man, I want to keep it real. I went on an app, I have the Robinhood app. I'm not telling y'all to use Robinhood necessarily, but it was easy because you just link your debit card to it. And I went and bought like 5 more, shares of Sprint right away because I knew at $5.75, it's definitely going to keep going up as everybody does this gold rush to get Sprint before the merger completes.
Yeah, so what's your take on it? Is he making the right move with you? How you feel about that?
So, yes, he is making the right move, and I think I just saw. Actually, the way you would approach that is, anytime a company's buying a company, you would. So in this instance, T-Mobile's buying Sprint. You would buy the Sprint stock, and you will actually short the T-Mobile stock. So both stocks are actually going to converge to a certain new price point that they believe the market believes it should trade at. And the reason why you see, T-Mobile is going to trade down, Sprint trades up, is for one, T-Mobile is obviously buying Sprint at a premium, right? So they're paying more than the company's currently trading at in order to, make everyone say, okay, you can buy us, right?
Right.
But the thing that's happening with T-Mobile, in order to buy them, technically they're either going to use cash, but 9 times out of 10 they're going to lever up their balance sheet. So they're going to issue more debt in order to actually purchase Sprint, and that's why that stock will trade down while Sprint
So
trades
for all the homies out there, open up an account with someone like Robinhood. If you need a bank account because you need a debit card in order to do this, buy some stock in Sprint. At least right now, I don't know at what point right now. By the time you listening to this, you make your own decision, but. That's where you want to get in. You want to get in with who's getting bought. That's where you're making the money.
Well, to give them disclaimer, if you beforehand are under the impression that you think that a company's going to get bought out, right? That's when you buy it. Like right now,
it's actually kind of late now. It's already
after
late.
the deal is announced, it's probably late. So I would only recommend you buying Sprint because you believe now this company is going to be strong and you believe it can compete with AT&T, Verizon. You believe they're going to get more customers. They're going to have more spectrum. They're going to win the war on 5G, which is kind of like the whole new thing that
for communications, right?
Exactly, right. And so that's kind of what I would recommend if you want to buy Sprint, right? Because in terms of the valuation, how much is going to trade higher, it's not going to trade any more higher, only a small bit in terms of kind of what the market believes the actual price should be.
Right. So when it hits the news and everybody's all excited about it and it's getting all this attraction, you're actually late. And we kind of talk about this in real estate all the time. You have to actually be paying attention to what's happening in the ecosystem or the environment or the neighborhoods in which you're paying attention to. Once you see the infrastructure changing, that's when you want to buy into that neighborhood. Not after the whole shopping mall is built, not after the expressway is built, not after all these things have been built.
Not after you already see a Whole Foods. Come on.
You're actually late. When the Whole Foods is there and you see people jogging and strolling up and down the street that weren't there before, you're late. And
Absolutely.
So in this case, with the whole T-Mobile and Sprint situation, you're actually late to the party. You should have been actually paying attention to the fact that they've been going to court and trying to make this merger happen and so on and so forth. That's when you should buy.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy because at the end of the day, when it comes to any form of investment, if you're trying to get in early, right, you want to make sure you're doing that due diligence. You're actually having some idea what's going to happen in the future, right? So you're saying, okay, I'm buying this company because I believe they're going to be more, profitable in the future. I think they're going to expand into these other new markets that they weren't in originally, and that's probably the same thing when you're thinking about real estate. Like, I'm buying this crib, but I know in the next year or two, there are going to be some more jobs. The alderman's bringing this into the community, and Obama library, boom. You know what I mean? So it's very similar.
Right, very similar. Very similar. So, hey, we need everybody, all the homies out there to have vision and to be paying attention to things that are changing in your environment. And when I say your environment, I'm talking about where you live and with the companies or the things that you have interest in. When you see the industry that you care about starting to change, you need to be asking yourself why and how you personally can benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I want to move to something different right now. As you see, our motto is dream, plan, execute. So I really want to ask you, if you could tell us something in your life that you dreamed of, the plans that you made to get to it, and then the actions you took in order to actually execute that dream.
Great question. I think when I was younger, one of the biggest things I always dreamed about was getting a good job, making a lot of money, right? And I think, to a degree, we all, have that form of a dream, but it boils down to kind of what's your plan and how do you go about executing it. And for me, it was a lot of sacrifice, and I think, that just boils down to kind of where you're at in with your tunnel vision, right? If you maintain tunnel vision, for me, it was pretty early that I was like, man, I know I want to go to a good, a good school. I want to make sure I'm, out of the South Side. And as a result, for me, I was able to, really kind of buckle down and get to the good schools. I got good grades at Whitney Young, which afforded me the luxury to go to UPenn. And when I got to UPenn, it afforded me the luxury of graduating and working on Wall Street for several years. And, for me, it's always, it was a blessing. But now, I'm taking those experiences and trying to literally educate the homies.
Right.
Yeah, I hear that.
No doubt.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate people like you who come back home and actually try to put the hood on. Because it's essentially what you're doing. You know, people talk about putting the city on their back. It's not a lot of people that are actually doing it. A lot of people, they just try to get whatever they can get for themselves and then hurry up and get out of here. But the people that actually come back and they do things like what you're doing with Maconomics, and even with your album, you know what I'm saying? Or not even with your album, it's a part of the whole. I'm looking at this whole master plan that's unfolded right now. You got this whole, you got this whole Maconomics show, and then now you got this Maconomics album. And then if you listen to the music, it really is, you know, meeting people where they are.
The lyrics, man, the blueprint is right there.
Right, and you're meeting people where they are. Like you're like literally people are going to listen to this that normally wouldn't even want to talk about business and real estate or whatever it is.
Exactly.
And so I appreciate people like you that are really coming back and putting on for the hood.
Well, I want to reverse that and also appreciate you guys because we're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And I think it has to be a lot of us doing the same thing in order for us to truly change the narrative together because we got a lot of stuff going against us, right? That being the media, you know what I mean? It's just so many negative things that what we're talking about isn't deemed cool yet. Right, we're trying to change
getting
that.
There, though.
I'm saying we're trying to change that narrative, right? And so, to your point of meeting people where they at, you know, educating the homies, or you know, using some form of, you know, jokes to make a person laugh. Now you can actually digest the information because you know the young kids' attention spans aren't long enough anymore. So you know, literally, you know, meeting the people where they at, man. We both, us three, you know, and other people like us, I think it's very important, and we need, you know, more people doing the same thing.
You know, I was looking on Instagram yesterday, and I saw someone put a screenshot of Lil Baby's Twitter, and Lil Baby, and he's a musical artist, he's a rapper. He put a tweet. Did you see it too? He put a tweet up, said, you know, when I feel sad, I buy a piece of property.
That's awesome.
Hard.
That is amazing, bro.
Hard.
That's a flex right there.
Serious flex, but that's hard.
And self-care. Because basically what he's saying, for my own self-care, I do things, I buy assets. Yeah. Buying assets is self-care. If you care about yourself, you need to be building your assets.
And there was a time when rappers would say, you know, when I feel sad, I'm going to the mall, or I'm going to buy a Lamborghini. This dude said he about to buy a piece of real estate.
That was strong. When I seen that, I said, yo, all the little homies need to see that and retweet that.
Right.
And I'm seeing it from the Migos. They're literally talking about buying real estate. DJ Envy, he put up an Instagram post saying, somebody said, "Oh, why you bringing your son around the Migos?" He was like, "Because they're all millionaires and they buying real estate just like me." You know what I'm saying?
You see that response?
The clapback was like, it wasn't just an anger clapback. It was like, let me set the narrative here. This is what these rappers are doing with their money these days.
Right. And I, you know, what I love is it's almost like, you know, they talk about BTS behind the scenes. Behind the scenes of what's happening outside of the concert, what they're doing on stage, is they're taking their money and they're determined not to go broke, not to become bankrupt, not to be like past generations of athletes and entertainers that end up with nothing. We're seeing a movement right now. You know,
what we're talking about, we're talking about Ross Max peers and rapping. Buy Back the Block was a song by Gucci Man, Rick Ross. Who else was on that track?
I know primarily Rick Ross.
I know it was the two of them was on Buy Back the Block. Yeah. But we're starting to see a bunch of music like this from the biggest rappers talking about, you know, I own 20 Wingstops and, you know, I bought 100 units of an apartment building. Like this is starting to become normal.
Yeah, and I think it's important, right? Because the same token, when a musician is talking about the drugs they're doing, or the guns, or the women, if they also talking about their business acumen, they investing, now the kids also got something to Google. Because you know what I mean? Little kids are Googling the things they talk about to even be able to understand and relate to it. And so when they hear some stuff on Jay-Z 444, and Jay-Z talking about, man, I'm buying art, or I could have bought a crib in Dumbo and now I feel dumb because I didn't, because it's worth this amount. Now kids are starting to understand, oh, wow.
Investing
is real.
And you've done music with our youngest brother, Asa, 2 times. One time he hit Anthony and I in a group chat, and it was like, look, the next building y'all get, we need to do Airbnb in at least half the units. Like
I was like,
and
what?
when that blew me away because most of the time he's calling us to say, hey, I'm coming back to Chicago from LA. Let's link up, or he's asking about how our mother is doing or something like that. But he hit us with a whole Airbnb twist on real estate.
This dude is talking about real estate, dude. It's a paradigm shift. Like it all starts in your head. It's in your mind. Mm-hmm. Like what are you thinking about? Like that was a proud big brother moment right there.
Awesome. He knows what he's doing.
And he knows we're going to be buying heavily in Woodline and South Shore, and it makes sense to have Airbnbs that close to the Obama Center.
Absolutely.
Right.
Boy thinking.
Man,
shout out 2 times.
Shout out to Ace 2 times. Our little brother, one of the Downing brothers. So, all right, this is the point where right off the top of your head, I want to ask you, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word homecoming?
I'm coming home again. Kanye. And so I felt that same way when I moved back to Chicago. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, homecoming is like, I guess, seeing all your day ones. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you go to your college for homecoming, you seeing all your friends that, you started with, that you excel with. Mm-hmm. And the same when it comes back to coming back to your hometown is seeing all your day ones and your family. Homecoming.
That's homecoming. All right, so can you give us a story? It could be from childhood, it could be from high school, college, wherever. Can you give us an interesting homecoming story? Something funny, awkward, whatever it is, a moment from what you consider homecoming to share with the homies out there.
Good question. So I moved back to Chicago. Maybe maybe 4 years ago. And I mean, the awkward moments was like, yo, I don't got the juice no more. I used to have the juice. I used to live in New York. And I walk up to the club, see the security I know. He let me right in, big line. And I looked around. I'm back in Chicago. I don't got the juice no more. I got to change it. We got to change the narrative. I cannot not be that man. And so we had to change that.
Well, is that why you started the drill?
Well, the drill was, so I have a company called The Drill, which is an experiential marketing company that me and my best mans, we started while we were both in New York. And it was just one of those things that we wanted to be able to have people that look like us, that party like us, of the same magnitude, caliber of us, party and just turn up. So we looked at it as everybody being sophisticated but ratchet at the same time. And then we, it grew, and we were able to kind of take it to other marketplaces, whether it's LA, DC, Miami, Atlanta, et cetera. And so, the drill is always one of those vibes, but I definitely brought the drill back to Chicago too. And it's funny enough, the drill is not the same as, kind of the drill music with the Chief Keef vibes. Like it's a difference. So it was always interesting on how I'm going to bring. So a homecoming moment actually was how is the first drill that I'm going to do back in Chicago going to be perceived by Chicago people? Right. Because the drill in New York, you're going to walk in, everybody's astute, but everybody's turning up. And luckily it was the same when it came back to Chicago. You know what I mean? No fights or anything, just beautiful people having a great time, teed up.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, that comes down to you actually, marketing to the right demographic. You got it to the group of people that you really wanted to target and get there, and it worked out for you.
Absolutely.
So I look forward to the next drill.
Yes, sir. Sunday.
Put us on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Put me in the game, coach.
Put me in the game. Put me in the game. All right. So we always ask, is there any kind of homecoming cause or charitable organization that you would like to highlight or that you care about or participate in?
I think so. To your point, I mean, one of the ones that I've been involved with is the Luster's Black Heritage Foundation. That's my fiance's company.
All right. Shout out to the fiance.
Yes,
Risa,
sir.
what's up?
Shout out.
Y'all gonna see that episode soon too?
Absolutely. But one thing I'm big on is if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And so when it comes to charity, I look at it as no matter where your heart is, that charity, depending on what it is, it can end. It has an end point, right? Whereas I look at, teaching a person, something more is something that's going to be everlasting, right? So this Christmas I did a toy drive. We probably helped thousands of families. I was able to partner up with the Southside YMCA, and it was amazing. It was so many young kids that came out. It was literally Christmas Eve. Me and my fiance came out there and was actually passing out toys for hours. But in my head, it was like, what could I have done more? Because after they got that toy, you play with it for a couple weeks, and now wherever you're at, your situation is still going to remain the same. So in my eyes right now, I think the biggest charitable thing that I'm involved with is the brand of Maconomics, because, I'm so excited every day to literally get up, get in front of the camera, and just tell people, small things they didn't know about, letting them know how, why you should open a stock portfolio, right? Why it's important to actually invest in your retirement, your 401k or your Roth IRA, helping people understand the compounded interest, helping people learn to budget better, right? It's just so many things, helping people improve their credit score. Like, it's just so many things that I want people to start understanding that, we as a people, we got to man up, level up, you know what I mean, and truly get to the bag, because there's so much money out here. And the only way that, we're going to really kind of close that wealth gap is from this bottom portion of us to actually start being more financially literate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's some stats that can be mind-boggling, right? Like, if your parents would invest it in the stock market, or if our grandparents would invest it in the stock, like $10,000 in the stock market in like the 40s or 50s, multiples of millions of dollars today, right? Just literally pure long-term investing and capital gains, but more importantly, the compounded interest. The money you're making is just being reinvested, right? I was talking to somebody the other day. I was talking to a woman who was telling me one of her biggest mistakes, her biggest regrets, was that when it came to her company, she had a 401k plan, and her company did a 10% match. She was at the record. She was in the record industry. That's a lot. You know what I mean? And the one thing she said was, "Man, I'm young. I don't need the money right now. I'm spending all my money right now." And she's 50, and she's like, "I'm probably going to work for the rest of my life." But to give you guys an understanding, if she would have, I'm a firm believer in always maxing out that match, right? If your employer is giving you 6%, then you should put 6% in, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, like that's free money. But once you start understanding how compounded interest looks, you putting $300 into, some type of growth fund in your 401k every month, over the course of, a little over 30 years, that's like $1.5 million. If you're expecting it, to grow on average 12% annually, right? And that's easy to get. I won't say it's easy to get, but it's very possible, just given the long term, the way the stock market goes, right? If you're investing in the stock market, you're technically investing in America, right? If you're investing in the S&P 500, this is America, right? You're betting that America's going to do good. And I know, I don't care how much money I get, I'm willing to bet on America, right? The stock market might go down tomorrow, but the long term is going to continue to increase, and the smartest investor, Warren Buffett, is a firm believer in that.
My biggest thing too is, like, if you do this from the first day you get to a job, you won't miss that money because you never got it in a paycheck. Because once you get those first few paychecks, now you're gonna miss it when you be like, oh, do I really want to pay into it? Right. Like, I have a deferred comp. I pay into a couple of things: life insurance. What's that other one that you have?
Index account.
Index account. We pay into an index account. I don't miss that money because I never kept that money in the first place.
That's amazing, because you're just paying yourself for in the future. Because you're going to get to that point when you're 60, like, oh, I forgot I had this money. And it's a lump sum that you're getting tax-free.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's really important.
Yeah. So I hope all the homies out there took away some jewelry from this episode. Invest in yourself. Yes. There's small ways to invest. You can open yourself an account. There's multiple accounts. I won't name them, but you can look it up for yourself. But you got to invest. So we always encourage you. figure out how to get your credit together, get your capital up, make those investments, buy some real estate, and do something for your last name. Something for your last name. And this is Homecoming with the Downing Brothers, and we do it for our last name. And we appreciate you listening. And stay tuned and stay here.
We need to get his Instagram.
That's right. I'm sorry, Ross. Hey, Ross, can you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your projects?
And Revolt TV, all of that.
Absolutely. Once again, my name is Ross Mack. You can find all of my music on any streaming platform. That's going to be RO$, Mac, M-A-C. You can follow me on Instagram. That's I'm Ross Mack, IMROSSMAC. And look, come along for the journey. I'm on Revolt once a week. You can go on Revolt's Instagram or their YouTube, as well as on my YouTube. But, I got a lot of jewels similar to these gentlemen I'm surrounded by. I'm in good company. But, we trying to educate everybody. We're trying to help everybody get to that bag.
That's right.
Whoa.
All right. No doubt. Thank you for tuning in to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. Stay tuned for Anthony's After Set. Thank you for sticking around for Anthony's After Set. For all the homies out there, I always want to leave you all with some type of inspiration. And this is what was put on my spirit to share with you guys at the end of this episode. Get in God's path. God's plan for our lives is not optional. His blessings can only be delayed when we fail to follow his lead. You need to get on the right path. And when you're home alone and you're looking in the mirror or you're just laying in bed by yourself, you have a feeling about whether you're doing the right things in your life or not. You can lie to everyone, but you can't lie to yourself. Are you right now on God's path for your life? Are you living up to your full potential? Are you doing the things that will lead you to the success that you seek in your life? Again, we can lie to everyone else, but we can't really lie to ourselves. Get on the path. I think you started because you made it to this point in this episode. The fact that you're even listening to this podcast, the fact that you listen to this entire conversation about how you can improve your life with real estate, business, and financial literacy, I think you're interested in being on the right path, being on God's path. The only one who can get in the way of what's for you is you. So do what is right for you, homies. Do the right thing. Get on God's path. I'll see you on the next episode of Homecoming with the Downing Brothers.
Thank you for tuning in to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers podcast. For more information on how to dream, plan, execute in real estate, business, and financial literacy, visit www.thedowningbrothers.com.